This is Kristen, and tonight I have Edge over Edge. How are you guys this evening?
Absolutely fabulous. Great to be talking to you.
Awesome. So who all do we have here tonight?
Matthew Austin, vocals and guitar.
Zach Lyon, drums and vocals. Quentin Austin, backup vocals and bass guitar.
Awesome. It's great to have you guys. I know you guys have been doing quite a bit of interviews lately.
Yeah, so hopefully we won't stutter and be terrible at it.
Well, it's awesome to see you guys getting that kind of press and attention. And the most recent song that you guys have put out, Mountain Breather, definitely kicks ass. So welcome, those guys.
Thank you. We're really proud of how that turned out. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. So a question that I always like to ask is, what inspires you to write music in general? And then break it down and talk to me about what inspired you to write that song in particular.
Ultimately, I think for the most part, my inspiration comes from just sitting down and playing. And, day-to-day life, music I've heard on the radio, music I've heard growing up, just that culmination of all those things just comes out. And, like with that song, that particular day, it was like 2 notes, and I was like, ooh, that's cool. So it just kind of built on that. Lyrically, any given day, some have a specific story, some are just abstract and more to let the listener come to their own conclusion.
My favorite genre has to be like stoner doom, like the old Sabbath stuff. And so whenever we were writing this, I was like, I want more of this type of feel with it. I want to really groove with it.
Yeah, I definitely think that Mountain Breather was kind of maybe not a deliberate attempt to go toward the heavy dark side, but I think that that's the way it kind of turned out. And I'm not saying that everything we write from now on is going to be heavy and dark, but we definitely like that side of things sometimes. And it was neat to explore that feel for sure.
And so conceptually or lyrically, what was kind of the influence for it?
We've kind of had this discussion. Really, it started out with the song title. It was kind of popped off in the middle of practice, and so it was like, okay, that's what it's going to be called. And so then we just kind of tried to figure out something to work around that, and kind of went with stream of consciousness. Getting stuff to fit together, to rhyme, and then I look at it as kind of an exploration of life, going from an immature child to maturity, and then ultimately death, the whole life in general thing. But then I was explaining that to Zach, and Zach was like, "Well, man, I thought it was this thing, this political." He could explain it better, but he was thinking this political thing.
Yeah, I was kind of taking it on a political bent where people in charge want to exploit our natural resources for profit, putting profit basically above and beyond what's morally right or what's sustainable. That's kind of the message that I got from it. So I think it's really open to interpretation. And I think that's something we all enjoy, is writing something where we may have a certain thing in mind, but maybe you can put your own experiences, to it and take your own meaning from it. And I think music's more powerful that way.
And even with my interpretation, I read it more as like a biblical story, like big, heavy, like fire raining from the sky. But that was a little more dramatic than theirs.
Yes, it's definitely interesting, and it'll be interesting the more that the song gets out to see what fans think and to get their different feedback as well.
So what did you think of the video? I
thought the video was awesome. Like, definitely.
Did you figure out what the apple was for?
I don't know. I'm still kind of thinking about that. Well, you said, along the biblical lines of, so innocence and the ending of that, maybe.
There you go. I like that.
But then again, it's open to 1,000 interpretations.
Exactly. The true story behind that is we shot the video ourselves, and it's such a strong orange and fiery vibe that I was like, man, we need a splash of different color. So I brought a green apple, and that's how it happened.
Wow, and that's like I was totally taking it somewhere else.
Well, and that's the entire idea behind doing stuff like that. Let everybody have their own interpretation.
Right.
Everyone's kind of imagination. That I think music is collaborative between the performers and the audience, and we always try to really engage, even in a video, even in a recording. I want to engage, the audience and have them be a part of the experience. So, I think we're coming from that angle.
Hopefully that works.
Yeah.
When have you started to get that dialogue yet, like comments on the video or feedback about the song, like where people were sharing their interpretation of what they think it means?
Kind of on a face to face, when we're talking to a friend that just saw it, or somebody that we've known for years, maybe it's just an acquaintance or whatever, saw the video and they're like, oh, that was so cool, and the tree and the lightning and they kind of come at us with the same question. So what is that about? And so depending on who you're talking to, depends on what the song's about.
Right. I definitely think that's interesting how people can come up with so many different interpretations. Now, I know that that's one of the singles off the album that you guys are set to release. Talk about when that's going to be available, and if you can give us any other sneak previews as to what we can expect on that album.
Well, we hope to have that, or the plan is to have the album out before the end of the first quarter of this year. We are just putting the finishing touches on mixing right now. As far as what to expect, on the heavier side of things, we were talking about Mountain Breather. We also have a song that we all wrote together called The Greeter, which is more on almost a post-rock kind of a trippy, more atmospheric kind of song. And there's a lot of songs that are just loaded with some dirty groove, kind of oriented riffs, a lot of crushing breakdowns. Matt and I sing a lot of harmony. Quentin chiming in there too. So just the emphasis on melody, always trying to bring the EOE energy to whatever we do, and a lot of variety because we don't put any limits on what we like to play.
And so theme-wise or content-wise, any particular subjects that you explore overall in the album?
I'd say we, with the single we released last year, which will be on the album too, "The Prince and the Prophet," that's kind of your like you described, the at the crossroads, meeting the devil type of song. But the Greeter is interesting because it's a very specific tale about an old man that used to live in our area. I won't give too much away. Then we've got Mountain Breather. We've got one called Status Quo, which is political in my view. It's everything is the status quo. So the main line of that is, how long can we go on? We have, what else do we have? We have one that's really kind of dedicated to servicemen, whether it be soldiers, police, fire,
First responders.
Yeah. It's called Kicking It Down. It's basically about sacrifice. We got one called Long Time Coming, and it's kind of a greasy, bluesy funk type thing, and it's really about where we're at right now. We've been doing this for a long time, and it's been a long time coming.
Just having fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know you guys, some of you formed back in high school and then picked it up years later. Talk a little bit about that journey, your evolution, and then kind of where you see yourself going in the next year.
It did literally start in high school. We got to borrow the drum set from the high school. Brought it to my house for the summer. Zach came over. He had just moved to our area, barely knew each other, but we were trying to do some Alice in Chains and some Stone Temple Pilots. Hell, I think some Helmet.
Yeah. And there's a Megadeth song in there.
Yeah.
Kind of everything.
And somewhere in the middle of all that, we came up with the name EdgeOverEdge. It stuck. That particular lineup never really did anything, but being in a small area, it's always hard, especially when you're young, to find people to play with. So I got into recording just about as soon as I got into learning guitar. And so I just kind of held on to that name over the years and have released stuff on my own, have released stuff with different lineups, but just kind of always held on to that EdgeOverEdge name. And about almost 5 years ago, Zach and I were playing together in another band, and we decided to fire it back up because I wanted to bring Quentin in to play bass. And originally we were going to be a four-piece. Zach was going to play guitar, and we were going to have another drummer. And that drummer backed out, so Zach picked up the sticks again. And we did have a little stint with a friend playing guitar, but ultimately it's just worked out as a three-piece. As far as what 2019 is going to bring, first and foremost the album, and hopefully that leads to more shows, bigger and better shows. We've got a busy May, obviously, with Roar and Thunder. Right at the end of April, we've got Midwest Underground Fest. There may be something at the end of May that I'm not at liberty to speak of yet. Yeah. So May's looking to be really busy, and then we're just trying to schedule things further out so that we're more prepared than picking up a show, at Joe's bar, which a lot of times those shows are great, but we want to keep pushing forward.
So now, how far out of a range do you play? I know certainly around Kansas, Oklahoma area, but how far have you traveled for a show?
The furthest right now, I think, is Wichita. Is the furthest.
I think so. Yeah, probably.
So sometimes we mix up, this band and the other band that we were in.
May got farther.
Oh yeah. Well, Roar and Thunder, is out at Newton. Midwest Underground is out by Ellsworth, which is even further than Newton. I think it was like about 4 hours.
We were trying to set up a show in Dallas at one point, but that ended up falling through.
Yeah. We've got some friends in Oklahoma City. It's a lot of times it's just lining up schedules to allow for, traveling.
Yeah, we're not afraid to go as far as we need to.
No, we need to be prepared for it.
Yeah, we're all working full time. Quentin is going to school full time on top of that, so balancing our schedules, trying to play music as much as possible. But life gets in the way a little bit. So hopefully, with the album coming out, doing some bigger and better shows, we'll have more opportunities to get farther away from our little local stomping grounds.
Well, that is definitely something that my partner Alan and I appreciate. Is we both have day jobs as well, and so we certainly appreciate our local bands and everything that you guys put into it to try to make it work to be out there touring and performing, as well as still taking care of what you have to take care of during the day.
Yeah, why are we working if we can't have fun doing what we love to do?
We certainly didn't get into this industry to make money. We came in to have fun. So
right. Just the camaraderie and the interaction with people, like-minded people that love rock music. That's what it's all
just
about.
love music in general, honestly. I love
Right.
into everything.
Well, that and the other musicians that we've met along the way.
Oh, yeah.
and created friendships with.
Yeah, absolutely.
Most definitely. Now, you mentioned Roaring Thunder Rock Fest, which I know 1066 The Blast is certainly supporting. Big Will is emceeing, and Alan and I will also be at that festival. Talk to me a little bit about that and what impact you feel that could potentially have on that area, because I know that as far as like any kind of real music scene or, things really picking up out that way, it's been a little slower.
Yeah, I've noticed in the last year and a half, 2 years, that the Wichita area, which, us being as far out as we are, we kind of wrap, Newton, that area, along with Wichita. I mean, our area is, I don't know, probably 3 hours in a circle, because we don't have that much where we are. But I've noticed that the Wichita scene is really picking up. Promoters, venues, bands, they're really starting to support each other. 1066 The Blast is doing a wonderful job. There's some other folks out there online and on the air doing a lot of support. So as far as Newton goes, we've got friends and bands out in Salina, so that I think that would help bridge the gap there. Anytime you can get bands together, I think is a boon to any kind of scene. The real challenge is getting people to those. The show is a challenge in and of itself, but then you're stuck counting on people to show up. So hopefully it'll be huge. I mean,
it has all the potential to be huge.
Absolutely.
I mean, the lineup is insane. There's tons of bands. There's something for everybody. Even if you listen to an EdgeOverEdge song and say, that's not really my thing, there's going to be things at this show that you will like. I mean, there's just a large variety of bands, several days of music. It's going to be huge. It's going to be huge for the local scene, and hopefully it's a launching off point for bigger and better things for the area.
That can continue to grow after.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it's just like Rocklahoma. It had to start somewhere. It wasn't the mega 3-day event in the beginning. It may have been 3 days. I don't know. I'm sure it wasn't as big as it is now. So y'all got to start somewhere.
That's absolutely true, and it is the most important thing to make sure that people get the word out and that they get the shows. I know that we're all about it. We've all been talking about it here, 1066 The Blast, and, we're huge fans of you guys, and, I have been pretty much ever since I launched Outlaw Review, and I did, the review of Prince and the Prophet. So, I'm coming all the way from the East Coast to see you guys.
It's awesome.
That is so awesome.
We really appreciate you too. You've been nothing but amazing to us. 106.6 The Blast, been nothing but amazing. And this is just another opportunity for all of us to get together with a lot of other bands and a lot of other fans of music, and just be one in that community, support each other, and grow this type of thing, so that it really takes off and we can all just continue to thrive and have a great time.
Absolutely. It's a great lineup of bands. It's going to be a killer time, and can't wait to see you guys out there and all the other bands that are on that tour as well.
Absolutely.
So tell me what else is coming up for you guys. Anything else we didn't talk about, or anything else you want to share this evening?
Well, yeah. We kind of touched on another new song that we'll release as a single later this year. Obviously, we've got 2 songs out now. The album's the most important thing. But the song "The Greeter," we will be doing a music video for it later in the year. Really can't. It depends on how busy we are during the summer, whether we do it in the summer or the fall. But that's that's already in mind.
There's already tons of music ideas for the next album running around.
Yeah, ironing out and finishing all the songs for the next album is big on our agenda.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we've got just a whole lot of creativity boiling up. It's great to be busy playing shows.
It gets us excited, and then we just want to keep writing music and keep this going.
Absolutely. So, if we're not out there playing, rest assured we're developing more things to put in your hands. There's a lot of ideas left to come up. So,
and really, that's the hardest thing right now is we have all these ideas and we have to finish the old songs. Yeah, we got to get them out of the way so that we can explore the new ones.
Well, the greeter certainly has me intrigued. I know you guys said you don't want to share too much or give too much away, but the story behind that, you gave a little bit away there by saying, it's about somebody that you knew. So I'm just kind of interested to see how that story unfolds.
I think, and like I say, that'll be the next video. And honestly, we're going to focus on the story of that video. We're not going to be in it. There's not going to be any performance in it. Maybe we'll make a cameo, but it's going to be like it's still a music video, but we're going to treat it more like a short film, and hopefully it becomes a modern day folk tale.
I think it's kind of it's almost like a horror story almost. I mean, kind of a local myth. I don't know. Am I getting that right, Matt?
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that accurate?
Yeah.
To say?
Man, see, now I almost have to come back and do another interview with you guys after that video releases because
we're absolutely willing.
Oh yeah.
Like I'm super intrigued with like urban legends and like spooky stuff like that. In fact, Alan and I were just talking about he had a Bigfoot sighting a few years ago, and so we were talking about that just recently on the show. We had another band on that was talking about like the Edward Mordrake story. So like now you really have me, like what is this about? You know what I mean? So, and especially the way you guys have the ability to like tell a story, because you did that with Prince and the Prophet, where it was like a little bit ambiguous, but it was so very like spooky, and it was just like, okay, so is this a guy dealing with the devil?
I think the lyrics to the greeter are along the same lines. This one is actually based on a real person, and it is a specific story, but I think it's written kind of in that same open to interpretation kind of way that we do. But once we release that, we'd be more than happy to tell you the story it's based on for sure.
Absolutely. Well, I'll be definitely hitting you up for that.
There's a lot of cool ghost towns in Kansas too, so whenever you come down, you can go visit them.
Definitely sounds interesting. I'll have to bring my camera.
Sasquatch too. I forgot to mention Quentin is a genuine Sasquatch, so we have it every day.
Yeah. So, what else have I not asked you guys this evening? What else do you want to share with our listeners tonight?
Maybe what gear we use. Talk about some of our indoors.
Well, yeah, that wouldn't hurt. Okay, so we started this little adventure last year with signing with Traumasphere Records, which honestly is an indie label put together by myself and a friend of mine. And just within 6 months of being on that, Slip Trick Records expressed interest in what we were doing. They're going to be the ones producing and distributing the CD and kind of helping out with some high profile marketing. And so then it's kind of like a snowball effect. From that point, we picked up an endorsement with Spectacle X Cables, which has been great to work with, obviously.
Great cables too.
Yeah. I mean,
awesome product.
I've grown up on the cheap end of everything, and I've always told myself, cables are cables, and that's not true. You know, it's like drinking your water through a dirty pipe versus a clean pipe. I mean, there's a difference. But from Spectraflex, then we picked up an endorsement with Dirtbag, WB gear, which is associated with SIT strings and in-tune guitar picks. We have custom guitar picks through them, which was, you know, we're small town kids, man. That was cool as hell to get our logo on a guitar pick. And then we got one with Excel drumsticks. We're still pushing for line 6, you know, Tama drums, Meinl cymbals, you know. But I think if we keep pushing, then we'll get there. Super jealous this weekend of all the folks that I know that are out in Anaheim at NAMM. But we do have Summer NAMM in Nashville on our radar. So hopefully we can pick up an invite and go out there mid-July and kind of get our foot in the door there. And you know, it's all about supporting those who support us. Like I say, we're small town kids. I mean, obviously Zach and I aren't kids anymore, but you know, we've been doing it long enough that
For kids at heart.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, obviously we're not growing up anytime soon. But you know, we know where we come from, and we have no intentions of forgetting that.
Well, I think you guys are really on to something with the release of this album. From the songs that I've already heard, you're on fire. You're picking up interviews. You're picking up endorsements. I think it's only a matter of time.
Well, that would be great. But you know, at the end of the day, the biggest goal is to get other people to enjoy the music as much as we do. If that leads to bigger and better things, then great. At the end of the day, though, we're still going to show up to rehearsal where our roof leaks, and you know, we're going to keep playing. That's what we've been doing for a couple of decades now, and
it's less of what we do and more of just who we are. And you know, if other people dig what we're about, then that's amazing, and we love you and we welcome you into our little world. We just hope to share our little pieces of creativity with y'all. So we appreciate everything that you do too, supporting music across the board. So yeah, it's been a blessing to play with people that we respect and build those friendships. It's been great.
And just watching it grow has been unreal, because you know, I was in middle school when I first started playing, and then you know, started playing live shows in high school, and just watching it pick up has just been absolutely unreal. You know, I'll have friends come up to me and it's like, "Oh, you're my rock star best friend over here." I'm like, you know, it hasn't sunk in that I'm out playing live shows, you know, with genuine bands. It's crazy. So
Most definitely. Well, it's been a pleasure speaking with you guys this evening. Can't wait for the album release. For fans listening, get your butts down to Roaring Thunder Rock Fest. See these guys, support the other bands that are out there as well. And so with that, guys, I appreciate you guys so much. You guys kick ass, and it's been a pleasure interviewing you this evening.
Well, thank you very much, and we can't wait to see you in person.
Absolutely. Well, you guys have a wonderful evening.
You too.
Thank you.